Okay. Mr. Roland Fraiser, the man, the myth, the legend. What's happening, brother?
I'm hanging out here quarantined in my house down the road from my other house that is now become my office. So I
Oh
got
yeah,
my
I
wife.
didn't even think about that. You got them both like literally. It's kind of like me now. But you got instead of a house and an office, you got two houses, right? That are.
Yeah, I got an office with a pool and a jacuzzi and a golf course out back, and it's all right.
Hey man, some offices are better than others. Okay. What you gonna
Well, I don't have the ocean like you do, so I'm gonna
do?
get you in that every time.
Okay, guys. Oh, excuse me. As you're coming on, do me a favor and go over there and say hello to Mr. Roland Fraiser. A lot of you, Roland does not need an introduction. He is an amazing guy. We'll give him one here in a second, but I just want to make sure that everybody does go on, says hello, comments, goes and likes and shares, and does all the good stuff on there because that is the way that Facebook pays some attention to make sure this. I can assure you, this is going to be one presentation that anybody that you actually really give a shit about them and their business and their family, you're going to want to make sure that they know to get their ass over here and get in here. There is a reason why Roland is my business partner. There's a reason why I looked to him as a mentor. There's a reason because every time I got something I need to work through, whether it's whether it's an opportunity or whether it's a challenge, whatever. I mean, he is the one guy that I call, right? And so I'm really honored that he's here, and he is. We're here to serve for the next hour or so with you guys here. So again, as you're coming on, please say hello and let us know you're here. The comments are coming in here, brother. Okay, good. Let us know where you're coming in from also. Go in there and type in there your city and state so we know exactly where you're coming in. Roland, how you doing, brother? Everything all right?
Man, I think you and I talked about this. It's so funny that all of my business partners, all my friends I'm talking to, and I'm like, how you doing? And they're like, I'm busier than I've ever been. It's so crazy. I mean, it's been 10 to 14 hour days every day, and awesome just because there's so much opportunity right now. It is just amazing. So I'm doing great, man. It's like I'm just having a hard time getting my arms around all of the things that are out there that we can do, and I'm having to say no or not now to more things than ever, just because it's you're ranking, and it's there's just so many things that are great.
I know you're probably experiencing the same. What's even crazy is like literally every idea that comes your way is great, but you have to prioritize now because there's just this wealth. I mean, there's this wave of opportunity right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Roland, do me a favor. For those of people that are on here that don't know you, would you mind kind of letting everybody know a little bit about your background, kind of, who you are, what you do, all that kind of good stuff?
Yeah, sure. I started out long ago. I got my, I found a Robert Allen book in the back of my dad's car that was called Nothing Down. And I was reading, it's really funny too, because I was reading it. And at the time, I think interest rates were like 12 and 14%. And he was like, we do this deal, and it was, how to do no money down real estate. And he's talking about taking over 6% VA loans and things like that. And I was like, everybody's like, man, it's never going to be 6% again. And now it's, the Fed just knocked the rate to zero, right? That's
right.
Shocking. But anyway, I read that and I got really excited about real estate. And so I went out, and as soon as I could, I think about 17 or 16 when I found that book. When I was 18, I got my real estate license. I started doing real estate deals. Looking for leverage, always in everything I do. I happened upon the idea of going to people who were doing building multiple houses, and that was developers, right? So not giant ones that were building thousands, but some of them were building hundreds. And I was like, man, if I can get listings with these people, I'll have an unlimited amount of business. And then started selling with those guys. And then as I got to know them, asked how their business works, and they said, we do these things called syndications to fund through investors. They come in and they put up money, and we buy land with that money, and then we split the profits with them and take a percentage. And I was like, okay, well, tell me about how does that work? And they're like, well, we get key man insurance. And I was like, oh, insurance, that's a commission. I can do that. How about if I get licensed and do that? So I got my insurance license and started doing that. And then I said, tell me more about this syndication stuff. How are you actually raising these monies? Oh, we do it through limited partnerships and other deals like that, where we sell, people put in, 10, 20, 100 grand. And I was like, that's interesting. If I could bring you people, would you pay me a commission? Because I was really commission focused at the time, because commission could scale infinitely and nothing else that I knew at the time could. And they said, yeah, man, but you got to be licensed. And I was like, oh, okay, another license. Cool. So at the time, I was in Richmond, Virginia, and the only place you could go to get licensed as a Series 7 securities salesperson was up in Washington, D.C. So I bought a study course. I went up to DC, I took the exam, I got licensed to sell securities. So then I started raising money to fund real estate deals. And ultimately, as I was successful at that, I got the opportunity to be an investor myself. And so I started doing development deals as well. And we built condos, houses, apartment buildings, office buildings, all kinds of stuff. You know, I'm going to guess it was a little over 10,000 houses that I did in that. And so that's kind of my real estate thing. I did finally go out and try Bob Allen's nothing down thing. And that was very intimidating. You know, the first time you do it, you're a little nervous because you're like, and so Kent, you know, I'm sitting across the table from you, I'm like, you know, I'm going to give you literally nothing for your house right now. And I'd like for you to sign this deed to give me ownership, but I want you to stay on the loan. How does that sound? You know, and it's like, you know, the first time it happened, you know, we had the notary sign the things and everything. And it was like, did you just, wow. Oh my God, I owned the house. You know, it was like crazy. And in those deals, I was doing non-fix up flips. So I was basically I would go to people, I sent out letters just like we do now through, I can never remember the name of the mail house. What's the mail house?
Graphic Connection.
Exactly, Graphic Connection. So just like Graphic Connections, I would have a mail house send out the letter. Actually, I sent them myself first, which is idiotic, because if you've ever tried to mail like even 500 letters, printing 500 letters and stamping and all that stuff, holy crap. But I did it, you know, use mailhouse, right? But I sent them out and I got maybe, I think on my first time I got like 25 or 30 leads, and then basically up with them, and I ended up, I think it was 7 houses. And so no fix up or anything. I just basically went out and got a company to furnish them and got all stuff out. And then I did 7-day auctions. So I put signs all over town, auction with the date. I did the auctions, and I remember flipping the first one, and I made like 35 grand. And I was like, I didn't have to come out of pocket. I put no money down, and it took me about 2 weeks to make 35 grand on my first house. And I didn't do a rehab. This is like non-rehab wholesale flipping something. I was like, this is amazing. So that was, I did that. And then I also, I was doing this as I was going through, I got a degree in accounting and ultimately moved out to California to go to law school. And in the process of that, through my securities license thing, I met, cause I was like, there wasn't anybody at the time in Virginia. So I had a firm in New York I hung my license with. And I got introduced to the people at Prudential Securities, and ended up, you know, having a kind of a mentor guy there named Andy. And Andy was like, man, you can do that stuff that you're doing with real estate with companies. I was like, really? He's like, yeah. I was like, so I could buy a company with no money out of pocket? And he's like, well, I don't know about that. But he was a more traditional investment banking guy, right? The blue shirt with the white, you know, things and all that. But he said, yeah, man, let's do some leverage buyouts. So we ended up doing leverage buyouts with Prudential, and I found out about the concept of management teams and bringing them in and all this stuff. And then I ended up saying, you know, I wonder if I could do this. I mean, he said no, but I wonder if you could just buy companies with no money down. And so I remember, you know, sitting across from somebody, just like that first real estate deal, thinking back to that time as I was doing it, saying, I'd like to buy your company, but I'd like to give you no money now. And I'm pretty much want to let the company pay for the deferred stuff. Is that going to be okay with you? And you know, yes. I was like, amazing. This works. You know, it's like, so after that, I did as many of those kinds of deals as I possibly could. You and I have done a bunch of them now together. And, and so I just, at this point, acquire companies. I've got 159 ways to do it with no money out of pocket right now. And that is really funny because somebody asked me, it's like, well, how do you do it? And I was like, well, here's, some ways. And it was like, I think 6. And then as I was doing a presentation on that, I kept adding other ways that I remembered. And then finally, when I was at like 25, I was like, I'm just going to sit down and think about what are all the ways that I do this? And I went through all the old deals and I was like, 159. Holy crap. And I stopped then just because that's all that I could fit on one sheet of paper.
Exactly.
Because as you know, Kent, you're only limited by the amount of creativity that you bring to any transaction, right? You can make pretty much anything happen in business with the right team, the right advisor, the right mentor, the right creativity. So just started doing that. And now, we have, you and I are partners, and we've done several deals with several different companies, and I've done deals with other partners too. And now I have, everything from a company called Everbowl that does acai bowls. We've got just got franchise approved and have 40.
I've got Finster. It's going to be on here next week.
Oh, great. So Jeff's, I'm an advisor to Jeff's company, and then Big Block Realty. We've got 1,000+ agents. Also just got our franchise approval because that's such a great way to grow. Have our SaaS that you and I have, and all those educational businesses. Digital Marketer, which is a digital marketing training company. Have a big event that would have been the last day would have been yesterday, called Traffic and Conversion Summit, where we had 10,000 people coming, which we sold, thank God, a majority of to Clarion and Blackstone a year ago. And a SBA credit advising company. I mean, it's like just all these deals. And so I haven't had to come out of pocket for any of them because of the value that I can bring. And that's one of the things I think you and I do a great job of showing people, how to identify their value so that they can go and do these kinds of things themselves, both in real estate and in business. So that's kind of my shtick. I don't think I missed anything, did I? I
mean, is there any license or degree that you don't have? No, I'm just kidding. I mean, literally, it's like, well, it's like I can do this, I can do this. I was like, holy shit, dude, or I've done it, right?
Yeah.
Look, I mean, you know the way I feel about you. Like I said, I mean, certainly my most trusted advisor, somebody I turn to on a constant basis. We talk several times a week on a consistent basis. We got 2 deals right now that we're working on. That we're trying to acquire at this particular point. This is an amazing, what you do and your ability to go and acquire companies and push value into them and ultimately have the opportunity to exit if you choose to is an amazing strategy that everybody should know, period. But now it just becomes, in this environment, it's like a whole nother, right? I mean, it's like a whole nother world now, right?
Well, man, I will tell you that a lot of the bigger companies are pivoting. So we're privy to what Blackstone's doing with Clarion, because Blackstone's I think the second biggest private equity fund in the world. They've got $450 billion, $500 billion ish last time I looked under management, and they are putting their acquisitions on pause right now. Well, and there are other companies like Bain. Bain is saying, we're not buying in travel, we're not buying in health, we're not buying in these, but we are buying in these areas because we're trying to buy into, just like they did back in the Great Recession in 2007, 8, 9. They're like, we're buying into the opportunity that the government CARES program, the stimulus package, has created. So what's really cool is you're going to see a few things. One is it's kind of the perfect storm in a good way for people like us and everybody that's listening or watching, is that you're going to see a lot of people who are frozen in fear, who are not going to make it past however long it takes to get back to normal. Okay. Everything was wonderful for the last several years. And even in January and February, many people were having record months and not preparing, just like developers don't prepare. It's developers, despite the cyclicality of real estate, developers are always, man, what happened? I was all in. I kept doubling down. It's like, and then there was this downturn. Nobody could have seen it coming. what? It's
Exactly.
so there's going to be all these people that are hunkered down now in fear, rocking, back and forth, hoping when is the CV-19 going to go away? And their businesses are going to die because they're not moving, they're not taking action, they're not being decisive, they're being unfocused, and like we said, frozen in fear. So those businesses are going to become available to buy. There are a lot of people who are 60 plus right now that aren't willing to go through another recessionary cycle, who are scared for their health, and they're scared for their financial health as well. And so they're like, man, I built my business. I'm kind of done. I was planning to move out of it in 1, 2, 3, 5 years. Now I'm going to have to put that back, and I'm not willing to do it. So those people are selling. PE is not buying aggressively. So the prices are going down in terms of what it takes to acquire because the demand is going down, and while everybody's panicked. And don't forget those 475,000 businesses a year that close anyway. And that means that there's going to be more supply, less demand, suppressed prices, and great companies are going to be able to be acquired for the next 30 to, I think, end of the year, 30 days to end of the year for nothing. And so like the time to be creative, and this works for real estate too, because I think we're going to see the same thing. You're going to see people that bought too high because prices were just so frothy that they're panicking, they're selling, I got to sell now because I don't know what's going to happen. So both in real estate and in company acquisitions, I think this is probably the best time we're going to see in decades.
Maybe in the rest of our lifetimes. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, it could easily be that kind of, to your point, kind of the perfect storm. Everything's kind of hitting in the same time at the same, at the same rate. And it's, if you are creative, if you have, like to your point, aligned yourself with the right mentors, the right partners, the right money, the right systems, the right processes, you can sit there and just quite literally set yourself up for, potentially generational type wealth if you're really smart.
And think about what is being made available right now, the PPP loans, right? That you and I and all of our companies have already applied for. And we're in the queue now. Chase opened up today, and another one of our banks, Broadway, opened today. We're working with US Bank to see exactly when they're going to get up. So we got applications in already for these payroll protection program loans, which basically give you 2 months of payroll from a year ago, right? So if you now, this is the opportunity though, right? For your company, yeah, go get the money. But now, not only does that money give you the ability to either keep your people on, or if you were going to keep your people on anyway, just have a free forgivable couple of months of payroll from the government and rent. It gives you more money to acquire, right? So like one digital marketer, we applied, I think it's right around 1.2 million that we'll pick up, and we weren't going to change our payroll anyway. So we're going to have an extra 1.2 million of cash that we can do something else with, right? That we weren't going to have before. And then that loan gets forgiven on June 30th, assuming we keep our payroll ratios. So you'll have all this extra money that's available if you're smart. Now, what if digital marketer wasn't doing well? And what if I found a company that with somebody that owns it that's scared right now, and they want to cash out, and they're operating out of fear. And let's say it's a $10 million company, and we can pick any number that is reasonable for people to think about. Let's say that it's going to be a $10 million acquisition, and you go and you negotiate with the owner, and the owner says, "I'm freaked out. I want what I can get for it. I'll take a 50% haircut just to get the money," right? Okay, great. So now you got to come up with 5 million, and let's say that this company has a $500,000-$600,000 a month payroll. Well, you're looking at getting $1 million to $1.2 million most likely, right? There's some limitations and stuff.
Right.
So your whole down payment on that deal, like a 20% down payment, could come from the PPP loan to acquire that company. You just assign them the right to receive that when it funds, right? You then have an SBA 7. We could do a 7A. 7A would only be $1 million right now, but you do an SBA, a 7A Express. You could do an SBA loan, and the SBA loan, like a disaster relief loan now for, I think they're up to 10 million. Mm-hmm. So let's say we get a disaster relief loan for the other 4 million, and that's at 3% over 30
years. Right? 30 years. I mean, geez.
Now you just bought a $10 million company with government money for no money out of pocket, and all the profits are going to you. I mean, because like if you were going to pay that kind of money for the company, it's probably doing $1 million a year in profits. Let's say it was impacted 70%. It's down 70%. And that's why they're freaking out. Well, daggone it. It's only making $300,000 a year. Now you got a $25,000 a month company for free.
Right.
That when this gets to the other side and you do some of the stuff that you and I talk about, if we have time here, we'll talk about it today, but you just made, right, 10 million bucks for nothing.
Right.
It's just crazy. So like, that's just one example of how the stimulus package can help you with acquisitions. And the whole COVID-19 panicky kind of artificial recession, let's call it, because this isn't really a legit recession. This is a recession that we decided to create for ourselves in an otherwise fantastic economy, just so we could keep a couple million people alive, which, by the way, I'm 100% for, right? But it's not like the economy suddenly went down. We said, hey, we're going to put the economy down for a while because we want these people to live.
Right.
Good decision, right? But then dumb decision to freak out about if you're a business, because you just got to get to the survival line. And after the survival line, whatever that is, maybe it's, I think Trump's saying it's April 30th, but maybe it's May 31st or June 1st or, June 30th, or maybe it's September. But all you have to do is get to the survival line, and all of the pent up demand that is there will come back, right? The prices will come back. So it's kind of nuts to be freaking out, but it is definitely smart to help the people who are freaking out to not be freaked out. And don't look at it as being predatory. Look at it as being a servant to them. Because if somebody's having anxiety and not sleeping and losing their health and their relationships because they're so panicked that they got to get out of this, then lend the hand to help them out. That's not being predatory. That's serving them. That's giving them what they want. Now, I'll tell somebody, and you and I do this when we buy businesses, right? Or real estate. We say, I don't think you should sell, because that's why I'm buying. But
right.
But they're like,
clearly I'm buying because I think there's something here, which if there's something here for me, then there's probably something here for you.
Yeah.
But if you're done, you're done.
Exactly. So if you get to the point where you can say, it's okay to go forward and not be afraid, it's okay to buy businesses that are distressed right now, or from people that are panicked, or real estate, because you are actually helping them get what they want, which is the whole point of a free marketplace. And you are getting opportunity in the meantime, and you see this rainbow of opportunities, this huge swath of things that are good that you can do to benefit from all that's going on right now. Then you owe it to yourself and your family and the economy to move forward and start the engines and the wheels going by doing transactions.
It would actually be irresponsible not to, quite frankly. If you have the knowledge and you have the drive and the ambition and you can do it and then you have a responsibility to do it, right? Because the economy has to get moving. These businesses need to keep moving, and the alternative is just gone.
Yeah, we talk about a very, very famous economist, John Maynard Keynes, has a thing he calls the paradox of thrift. And it's basically, the paradox of thrift is that when there's a recession, everybody tends to pull back. And when everybody pulls back, it perpetuates the recession. So the best thing that you can do is figure out, how can you not pull back unintelligently? How can you go forward intelligently, right? And so you and I were talking about over the last 100 years, Post and Kellogg's in the Great Depression in the 20s, Post pulled back, Kellogg's doubled down on marketing, Post lost its position as the #1 cereal company, Kellogg's took over. Same thing happened with Volkswagen and Toyota in the 70s when the oil thing was there. the EPA mileage estimates thing came out. Toyota and Volkswagen, I think, were number 1 and 2 in that. Volkswagen pulled back on their marketing. Toyota leaned in and ate Volkswagen's lunch, doubled down on their advertising. And also Toyota did the other thing. Like, I think it was Bain that did a study of like 4 to 5,000 companies through all recessionary periods, which, by the way, there have been 47 of those during the history of the United States, 17 in the last several years, right? So this is not a surprise. We've come back from that. So if you like what's happened in the last 5 years before this, it's only happened 47 times more. And so like, there's a history of we're going to come back. But the study said that the 2 commonalities of the companies that bounced back the fastest from any type of recession were an investment in marketing and because right now the world is on sale. If you're trying to drive leads to buy houses or anything else right now, the cost of acquisition, because so many people have pulled out and all of retail has pulled out, that the cost of acquiring a lead right now through digital media and even print and radio, right? Traditional media has gone down for us between 50% and 95% of what it used to be.
By the way, without you having to do one thing that happened.
No, it's just, see, this is the thing that
you didn't have to double down. It just happened.
Yeah. Why the hell would you freeze right now? If nothing bad, if there was no CV-19 and restaurants were open right now, and suddenly your competitors pulled back and said, we're not going to advertise for a few months. And Facebook and Google got together and said, we charge too much. We make a lot of profits. Let's just give people a sale, like a 50% off sale on media. Then you'd go nuts buying it. So why the hell aren't you out there buying it now? Because everybody's scared right now and they decided not to advertise. And all of the tech guys basically said, oh, nobody's advertising. We should lower our prices to get more people to advertise. So that situation is there. So you've got right now exactly the opportunity on sale to do what all of the best consulting companies showed thousands of the most successful recession rebounders did, which was to double down on marketing. The second thing was to increase operational efficiency. So going through all of the plans like that you have with Real Estate Worldwide for real estate, or that you and I talk about when we do our leverage, exit, grow, scale things, that operational efficiency, how can you identify the key levers to pull and the key changes to make in how your business ops are structured and flowing? Those 2 things make the difference between the people who fail and the people who succeed. So it's kind of obvious, right? History's already told us what to do.
It's I can't remember what the name of the book is, talking about how during the same example, but it was Reebok and Nike during one of the recessions where Reebok pulled back and Nike doubled down. Yeah. And now, they're not even in the same ballpark anymore, right? I mean, it's like,
And the other thing that if you look at Reebok and not Nike, Reebok was unfocused in their marketing overall. Like not even like, just take the recession out and say, Reebok said, we're going into this right now. And now we're going into that. And now we're going into that. They were on that wavery line of indecision. Nike said, we want to create a repeatable process that we can apply market by market by market to grow the company indefinitely as long as we want. The repeatable process is the operational efficiency that Reebok lacked. And it's exactly what you show people how to do with the, wholesaling and all of that stuff.
So guys, as you have questions, right, we're going to keep chatting here. We're going to go down a couple more things and then I'm going to open it up to questions for all of you. But as you have questions, again, I want to let you know, you got an opportunity here for the next, 30, 45 minutes to tap into literally one of the smartest guys you're ever going to get the chance to hear from, who has such a wealth of knowledge across so many different verticals, across so many different industries, whether it's on marketing, acquisition, sales, I mean, you name it, right? I want you to go fill up the comment section with all of your questions and we will try to get to every single one of them. Let's talk, Roland. What do you see, kind of sitting at the 10,000 foot view, where do you see some of the opportunities that are kind of like painfully obvious? These are the kinds of things that I know that industries, we should be looking for acquisitions. We should be looking at places to, maybe go and consolidate a couple a couple of companies really fast? And because, you know, where do you see that?
Yeah, I think it just depends. I mean, I always like to me, the easiest opportunities are the ones that are around you already. So looking at anybody that you have as a supplier to your business, anybody that is a vendor to your business, and that's a place. Media that will help your business grow. So I like to say, what will prop up your existing business? And if you've got an existing business, it's easy. You say, okay, if I can get more leads into my funnel, then I can sell more of whatever I do. If I'm flipping houses or doing wholesale contracts or selling real estate, then the more people that I can get into my funnel that are my ideal customer profile, the better I'm going to do in my business. So the very first place we always look is to media. And we say, can we buy Facebook groups? Can we buy Instagram channels? Can we buy blogs or websites that rank well in the search engines? Can we buy a TV show? Can we buy a live event? Can we buy a virtual event? Can we buy a podcast, right? All of that is media, which is the aggregation of eyeballs of our ideal customer profile. If we can do that, that's all on sale right now. Those people are freaking out. So why wouldn't you buy a Facebook group that has your ideal market? If you're trying to do, wholesaling in San Diego, what media would you tell people to go and advertise on, Kent? Or how would you tell people to go generate leads for something like that?
Well, I mean, talking about media channels specifically, there's all kinds of meetup groups. There's Facebook groups. There's certainly those types of properties, Instagram pages, etc. I mean, it's not hard through hashtags and through a couple different tools out there to go find who owns the real estate media space in any particular market right now. And to your point, all that shit's on sale. And in fact, I would even go, and this is something I picked up from you a long time ago that I had never really considered. It's shocking how many of those media properties were started more as vanity projects than anything else.
Yeah.
And they turned into media channels, but the person that owns it and operates it doesn't see it that way.
Right. They got a job now. They're unhappy. It's just a pain in the butt for them.
Right. And so coming in and being able to basically take over and offer them a few $100 or a few $1,000 on something that they were making no money on in the first place, was just a pain in their ass, is like a blessing from God to them. And again, it's kind of back to the thing you said from the beginning. And it's the same thing that we hear in real estate all the time. To the outside person, when you go and tell somebody, I can go buy a house with no money, or I can buy a business with no money, they look at you like you're batshit crazy. And then
I had a guy argue with me in War Room that one of the guys that joined, and we were talking about how would you approach a business. One of our people had wanted to approach a business to buy, and he said, I said, okay, well, how would you guys all do it? And we got to the guy that is a business broker, and he said, I'd do this. And I said, that's awesome. That's a way to do it. I said, here's what I would do too. And I mean, I think I could buy it with no money down. And he's like, bullshit. It's like, well, I mean, cause I've done it like a lot. So
exactly.
I know I can do this. It's just not what you're used to. I said, but you don't have to be defensive. Your way works also. It's, we don't know. My way doesn't always work. It's a specific kind of business, right? But, I believe that if somebody wants to sell, money always does work. So, so you got me there, and that's cool, but this way does work too. My market maybe is 60% as big as yours, but I don't have to pay I don't need any money to do what I do. So, what you said is exactly right. Those are the places that media is the place I would look first, because more leads means more deals, right?
100%. And then of course you still, again, that's one channel, but again, back to what we were just talking about a second ago, you still have, and I've been telling my group this for the last 3 weeks, right? I mean, we jumped on immediately with my boardroom group. And basically I told them, like, whatever you do not stop marketing, right? Market more aggressively for cash buyers than you've ever marketed. Market more aggressively for sellers than you've ever marketed. But whatever you do, don't stop. Because one thing I do know to be true out of the last recession is that 30 to 40% of your competition is going to vaporize overnight. Boom. Because they don't have access to mentors. They don't have access to people in their world that actually have been here, done that, can help them see around corners. And so the only thing they know to do is to contract.
And it'll be hard to come back because marketing is about, like, if you go to marketing, there's two types, right? There's direct response marketing and there's awareness or brand marketing. And all of the share of voice is important because you always want to be top of mind. And so if you fall out and you stop marketing for 3 months, 4 months while this is all going on, and somebody else comes in, when this is over and everyone's ready to start making decisions again, they'll be thinking about the people who are top of mind, who are marketing, right? So please, for the love of God, don't let the real estate agents that do these pictures be the people who are getting all the real estate deals. Don't let the people who are smart enough to advertise and keep their name out there take away your market share that you've got. You are either gaining market share now by being higher share of voice, or you are losing it. You are not staying the same, right? That's the key to me, the lesson to take away.
And I will tell you, because I've had multiple conversations with this. Think about, you just hit on it, but I want to really drive the point home. Think about, certainly from a brand building standpoint, but this is very tactical. Think about a direct mail standpoint, where we clearly know that direct mail is all about the repetition, right? You have to keep it. And so you've been dripping on somebody for 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and right at the point where they are going to start considering you yank it all back. So
it's
literally
3 feet from gold, right? It's
3 feet from gold. Perfect analogy, right? So right when you're at the place where somebody's going to be thinking about you, that's when you pull back. You've built up all of this equity up to this point, and now you stop. 3 feet from gold is a great analogy. That's exactly what is going on. If you stop marketing right now, you stop sending that direct mail, you stop pulling back. And in fact, if you're not even trying to be more omnipresent than you've ever been, right? Using those same lists that you pull out of our software company that you and I own together. If you take those lists and you now are using them to append, using for direct mail, but using them to append phone numbers so that you are cold calling, you're doing ringless voicemail, you're doing text blasting, and or even using it to load up into Facebook audiences. You need to be everywhere right now, because this is your moment. You have, and I cannot stress it to enough, and this has nothing to do with real estate. This is marketing, period. You've been waiting for this. You may not know it,
everything.
But I promise you, yeah, you've been waiting for this opportunity. Yeah. Let's backtrack for 1 second here, Roland. I got a couple questions, and you and I actually intended to talk about this as well. There's a lot of people that are a little confused, and being as smart as you are, and again, you were one of the first people I called on this, is let's kind of break down a little bit from a tactical standpoint on the SBA side of things. What are the 3 things that 3 types of loans out there that people should be, if you're a business owner or even if you are just a sole proprietor, right? What they should be taking advantage of right now, what they should be doing.
Yeah, I think it depends on how much you need money, how fast. So if you're critical right now and you need money to carry on your operations and have available, I like to think about it in a few terms. So the very first is, it's almost like a startup right now, because startups have a thing called runway. And so runway is, they go out and they get funding and they say, how long do I have before I run out of money? So you need to do that analysis right now. If you're super successful and you're profitable, then you don't have to worry about runway right now. But if you're not, if things are tight and you might be even going a little bit negative initially here, you need to figure out, how can I have as much money as possible? If you need it right now, like today, then there are services that you can apply for multiple credit cards at the same time through. And when you do that, you're able to, as opposed to calling individually or applying individually, where you'll get multiple inquiries and your credit score will go down, and eventually you won't be able to get any more. These guys do like 50 at a time. And the benefit of that is you'll pick up between 50,000 and 150,000. You get 8 to 10, 12 credit cards that you can do cash advances on or put other expenses on, including marketing. And that will.
You happen to know what one of those services is, Roland?
Yeah, Credit Suite is one. Credit SUITE, and the guy there is Ty Crandall, and I will give you guys his phone number, his cell number, since you're watching this. It's 727-534-8255. 1150 Ty Ty Crandall Crandell 727-534-1150. And so that's the very first place I would go if I need money right away. The next place that I would go is I would immediately apply for the PPP loan. And those applications just opened up today. I know we got ours in with Chase. I know we got ours in with Broadway. There's a lot of other banks that are opening them up. There's a lot of people who are really confused. We're applying at multiple banks because as soon as one of them goes through, all of our others will be canceled, all of our other apps. So it's good to see who's going to process this thing first. And different companies have different methodologies for doing this and different levels, different rules, that kind of stuff. So to me, it's good to do a couple. And what that'll get you is effectively something along the lines, and I'm going to give you the broad strokes, not the specifics. But if you have the same kind of level of payroll that you had a year ago in March and April, then and you're going to maintain that through, say, June 30th of this year, you're not going to let a lot of people go. This will actually give you effectively a loan from the government for 2 months of your payroll that you had last year, and it'll be forgiven at the end of June. So you're really getting free money from the government. So again, you can talk to Ty or go on the SBA side and see what the exact rules are. But that's the gist of it. It's a PPP, Payroll Protection Program loan, and that for acquisitions. I mean, I'm looking at that for acquisitions right now. Who was spending a ton of money on payroll, a year ago that we can acquire right now? That's either struggling or breaking even right now that we can apply our magic to and make go. Those companies we can buy all day long for free. And here's what's beautiful. It's not a person by person application. It's a company by company application. So let's say we buy 5 companies and we put in 5 PPPs. We can get 5 PPP loans, right? So that's kind of exciting. The third thing would be, and I'll actually give you a couple types. There's a 7A loan that the SBA has, which right now there's an express version of that funds usually in 30 to 60 days. So they're funding faster than the more traditional loans that can take 4 to 6 months. So I would apply for one of those. They've increased the amount from $350,000 to $1 million. And they're also doing on some loans, and you can again talk to your banking experts and people like Ty, but they're deferring payments on a lot of these loans by 6 to 12 months. So you can get this loan and not even have to pay for it until the economy turns around, which is pretty fantastic. And then there are larger loans up to 10 million, which are the disaster relief loans, and damages are presumed. A lot of people there's some misinformation out there. They're saying, well, you have to prove that you're damaged. You don't. If you say you're affected by coronavirus, then you're presumed to be able to qualify for that. And those loans go up to $10 million, and a lot of them are payback over 30 years at 2 or 3%.
3.75, I think is what it was. Is what I read.
Yeah, and there's some others that are a little bit lower, but like those are where you should be right away. And
well, I mean, if you think about it, even the ones it's not the disaster relief. I got to think of what the other one's called, but the $10,000 grant.
Yeah.
Even for the small average wholesaler here, you have multiple LLCs that are sitting out there. You own rentals in each one, whatever the case may be. You could literally be applying for each one of these LLCs that $10,000 grant, which is again is forgivable, and effectively fund a lot of this, like you said, runway here, right? I mean, depending on how large or small your company is. I mean, it could easily be the difference between. I've had people call me, Ken, I'm a one-man show. I'm just flipping properties here. I'm making $200,000 a year. Well, how many LLCs do you have? Those simple little strategies. I mean, money's money right now.
It is. And that deal you're talking about, that's when you apply 3 days from then, they'll give you $10,000. And then if you don't get the loan, you get to keep the $10,000, which is kind of cool. So there's a lot of opportunity right now. So to me, it's get as much cash as you can, because it gives you runway if you're having trouble right now, and it gives you optionality if not. And optionality, if you look at like who are all of the great generals, all of the wars that the great strategists like Clausewitz and people like that win wars, they say it's not necessarily having superior forces. It's not necessarily being the biggest wholesaler, the biggest real estate agent, the biggest, whatever. It is having the most options that wins wars. So right now, to win this war, because I think I look at it as a war, right? To win this war, you want to have as many options as you can. What gives you the most options is having the most capital available to take advantage of the different opportunities that come about. If you don't have the capital to do that, then you have fewer options. And the people who have the most options because they've gone out and gotten all of the loans that they can get, they've qualified, they've stockpiled their armor to do this. They've got all of their resources marshaled together, ready to focus them on the biggest opportunities that come their way. They're the people who are going to profit the most. So getting the cash gives you optionality, which allows you to have the biggest reward for whatever opportunities come. You can, normally you and I talk about it and we say the once in a lifetime opportunity usually comes along 3 or 4 times a year. That's my experience, right? But now the once in a lifetime opportunity is going to come along almost every day, certainly every week. And we are going to have a lifetime of opportunities compressed into the next 6 to 9 months. And if you're not able to take advantage of them because you didn't take these steps right now, you're going to miss out.
Amen, bro. I could not have said it better. I mean, it's literally like, it's beyond me, anybody that would not go take 30 minutes to an hour and they've made it so straightforward, so easy. I mean, literally get in there and get these applied for. You've got nothing to lose and so much upside potential, to your point, by just creating some liquidity, whether you need it or not. Yep. Right? With the journal.
You do need it. Like, you might not need it to survive, but you do need it to win.
Oh, I love that. I love that. All right, let me go over here. Let's see if we got see what we got for questions over here. All right. Everything's on. Can he give us some cool examples of how to get creative to buy? This is from Brandon, one of our boardroom members. Can you give us some cool examples of how to get creative to buy real estate or businesses right now that Roland has done? I can't read that. I guess basically we wouldn't know about. I mean, we talked about several of them so far. You got any other cool little trick you want to share with everybody?
Well, I mean, so everything is on the table. So when you're looking at buying, real estate is more your area than mine. But let's talk about a scenario. Give me a scenario of Kent, of something that is an opportunity that people would be looking for right now, and then you and I can talk about how to do it creatively. How about that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can tell you right now, I've probably fielded. I think I was even telling you this. I've probably fielded half a dozen phone calls just in the last week alone. Smaller players in the space, and they either own a piece of software, a widget. They've got something in our particular space, and being that we're kind of the 800-pound gorilla, they're quickly coming to me and say, "Hey, is there a deal to be done here? Can we partner?" From their standpoint, that's the language they use. Hey, how can we partner? How can we do something together here? And from my side, it's all right. Well, now this is my opportunity to try to do a couple things. One, if it's a good fit, I want to potentially acquire their company and bring it all in house, and then use our marketing, et cetera, et cetera. I see something there, synergy that you and I talked to, where we felt like we could drive massive revenue and growth through another thing that was a competitor before. So kind of take a scenario like that.
Let's just because real estate worldwide has a huge advantage because of being
okay, fair enough.
Let's start with let's just say that you are trying to acquire properties, Brandon, and you're trying to acquire. Let's say that you're trying to acquire residential properties. Then one of the things that you could do right now, and one of the guys that Kent and I work with, who's named Brian Daly, has built up successfully a referral network of 100 real estate agents. And right now, real estate agents are really hurting. So even if you think about creatively, how can I reach out and help the people that are centers of influence that will give me a great number of leads right now for whatever I want? So let's say that you're looking for to wholesale or rehab residential properties. So what I would do is I would make a list of all of the top real estate agents in my area. And of course, they all like to brag about, you know, I'm number one, I'm number one, I'm number one. So I would start reaching out to them. I'd get those people first, and then I'd start reaching out to everybody. And I would just say, I would call them, and I would advertise to them, and I would probably direct mail them. And I'd say, listen, I know that real estate is slow right now because nobody can look at houses and everything. But I just wanted to reach out because I'm looking to buy. And I also would love to chat with you about some things that I've seen other real estate agents doing, and I've helped real estate agents with by giving them advice on how that they can get more leads, get more properties, get more listings, and close more sales during this time. I'm buying right now, right? I mean, how many people are reaching out to real estate agents right now saying, I'm buying? I'm a buyer of multiple homes right now. Holy crap, right? Well, one of the easiest things that you can do for a real estate agent that, you know, and you and I talked about this with Brett, is you can help them add wholesaling to their business, right? That's when the world is on sale and people aren't listing right now. I'm in a house right now that we were thinking, should we list it? Should we keep it? I'm keeping it. It's my new office, right? I'm keeping it and not listing it because it'd be kind of dumb to list it right now because everybody's looking for deals, and you can't get people in, and you don't want a house that's sitting as a listing for too long. So what if you reach out right now and you say, look, this is all of your leads that are thinking about listing right now that aren't, should be pocket listings for you. And this is the best time if any of those people need money for you to go into wholesaling. So why don't you start flipping contracts? You could build effectively a huge network, referral network of real estate agents that are bird dogging wholesale flips for you in a time when nobody's listing, right? That's a very good zag while everybody else is zigging, right? When the real estate agents are freaking out and they're like, well, I guess we'll do virtual showings. It's like, really? You're going to do virtual showings? To me, that's the best way to put yourself out of business, by showing everybody right now that they don't need you. It's like a virtual showing. I can hire a company to do that and do a virtual open house and not pay you your 3 to 6%, right? Instead of training your market in a thing you don't want while everybody else is doing that, how about if we just go sell some houses? Because I'm buying right now. That, to me, does that make sense? Is that,
that's great advice. It's just being creative and helping. I mean, it's understanding what somebody else's pain point and how to solve that and move your business along, right?
Exactly.
I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going here. Keep the questions going in there in the comments, guys. One of our current acquisitions, I think this is a business. One of our current acquisitions is being held up by not being able to perform normal due diligence procedures. Can't travel for meet and greets and visits, etc. Normal business operations, non-essential biz. What strategies would you use to get the deals closed ASAP, close sight unseen?
Yeah. So if it's a business, like the meet and greet, the management interviews that you normally do, and we've already done this. So we've done for $70, $80 million transactions, virtual interviews of management. And you're usually, if you're dealing with an acquisition, you have a data room that has all of the information about the business, all the due diligence documents file into there. So there shouldn't be like that. That sounds like it might just be a habit thing. Whoever you're dealing with there, you can do these. I mean, we sold 3 businesses last year to companies that we never really met with during the due diligence process. Like they might have come out and talked to us initially, but there wasn't anything that needed to be inspected that couldn't be inspected without video. So if there's a building that's involved, if there's, we want to look at the facility or whatever, well, the facilities are probably empty right now. So go in with a video camera and video the facility and show them what you've got. But I would also tout, look, this business opportunity may be even better right now because we've determined that we don't actually need that office anymore. So that's a 10, 20, 30 for us. In one of our businesses, $72,000 a month. We're kind of thinking, maybe we just don't need that once this lease runs out, or, maybe we can negotiate out of that. But if you've got a data room and you are doing your management interviews by video, then there shouldn't be a need for anything except physical inspection. And the physical inspection could be done within the social distancing rule by sending a third-party inspector out to do that physical inspection. So that'd be my take. And I'm happy to dialogue on that if there's some other obstacle that I don't see. But man, like that's how we do deals now anyway.
Yeah, especially like if you're doing international deals and that kind of stuff. I mean,
even Detroit, who wants to fly to Detroit? You know, it's a like, you know, we were doing a deal with this company that was headquartered in Detroit, and the management interview thing came up, and we were just like, yeah, we're good. We'll just, you know,
we'll just do this virtually. No, it's fine. It's fine. I promise.
Totally cool.
All right, Lawrence, I think we got your SBA question there handled, Lawrence. If I didn't, then please just make sure that you put it into the comments again. But I think we went through that. I went through that for you. How many of the SBA programs can one business apply for? I mean,
yeah, it's for one business. There are a couple of programs that are choices, and again, I would refer you to the experts because it's going to be specific to your business what you'll be able to apply for or not. So that's better answered by that expert.
Okay. Doesn't matter if the employee is 1099 or independent contractor. It does not. I can tell you that it's very much right on the right on the front page.
Yep.
Okay. Just going through these. Contractors can apply. Loss of income through business. Does it qualify as damages? Yes, it does. What is the name of the program for the 10K grant? Nancy, just go right on the SBA. Literally, if you go right to the SBA website, there is a huge banner right across the top. You cannot miss it.
I would focus on like, how can Kent and I help you solve your business challenges right now? That's the question.
Right. Let's try to focus on what are the challenges you're having in your business right now that you've got the chance to get handled here. Okay. Robert Hyder, not so scared to market, but we need to find who's buying so we can move properties. Dude, I mean, I'm going to tell you, just keep marketing. A couple things on the buy side, right? I would absolutely, because there are people buying, and there are people buying a lot right now. I know REI Nation is still selling properties. I know that a lot of people that I'm talking to, they are still buying. Some of your big institutional buyers are certainly kind of just like the hedge funds. They're kind of sitting, because they've got a lot more at play, right? And so they're just trying to get their feet and understand. But at the end of before they move forward, but they've created a vacuum by pulling out, and there's all these other cash buyers that are flooding in.
Kent, how recent is the data in the REWW database?
It's updated every 2 weeks.
Okay, so what I would do is go into the Real Estate Worldwide, into the software that you've got, and pull who's buying, because you actually literally have software through Kent that will tell you 2 weeks ago, all these people were still buying multiple homes.
Absolutely.
And I would check that every single 2 weeks on the update, because he's got software already, and you've probably, if you're a member, have software available to you already that will tell you, which, by the way, Kent, it occurs to me, would be a very good marketing program for REWW to put out about its software. Want to know who's still buying? Want to know who bought, pick somebody. Want to know who bought 17 homes 2 weeks ago? Think that would be worth it, both for real estate agents and for investors? We've got that, right?
So, one of the things I will even echo on that is that, ladies and gentlemen, you need to understand that when you're marketing to these lists of all these cash buyers, let's just say you go pull 1,000 cash buyers that bought in San Diego in the last 90 days. We were talking about this earlier. You got to keep marketing, right? So start marketing right now. Get the letters in the mail right now. Here's what I will tell you. The only people that are going to call you back are the people that are still fucking buying. That's the point, right? That's the beauty of it, is that they self-select. They're like, oh shit, let's do this. Let's keep going. But if you overthink it, I want to get very strategic about it. I mean, you're going to find that you're backing up every single day. Keep freaking marketing. Roland, this is from Robert Hyder. Robert, he's in our boardroom. Roland, what do you think about note purchasing, REI backed, specifically, oh shit, I just lost him here, specifically non-recourse debt market with the pullback in liquidity?
So what do we think about buying? Read the whole thing one more time, Kent.
What do you think about basically buying notes, right? In other words, notes that are on some of these, whether it's commercial or residential properties that are out there, effectively picking up these notes at a discount now. And effectively now you're controlling property. You're controlling an asset.
I think it's brilliant, and I think that note buying is a fantastic strategy. I particularly think as long as you're comfortable with the LTV, I'd be looking at current market prices, and say, here's my estimated liquidation value. You might need to be willing to adjust the amount, of the price of the note based on what you think you could liquidate the property for. But
yeah, maybe buy it at a bigger discount. I mean, you're a little bit stricter on your underwriting, but definitely.
I love the strategy though. It's to me, it's one of the best strategies out there.
100%. You're in control of the asset without actually really necessarily having to control the asset.
Yeah.
And
don't forget, who was that asset? Robert, you can wholesale. I mean, you can wholesale notes too, just like you can wholesale houses. You can flip those notes. So why not get yourself the best deal that you can get on the discount, and then go out to the note buyers and offer that, or go to wholesalers and offer that, and show them a whole new way to acquire the properties.
Right, create a whole new market for yourself. Right.
Note wholesaling to me is a really overlooked way to make a ton of money.
Oh yeah, I mean, you and I know Eddie Speed, and I mean he just makes bank doing that.
Yeah.
And he has created, by the way, an entire marketplace for that. So if you want to wholesale your notes off, he literally has a piece of software that'll.
Yeah. So you could go there in advance, right? Find out what's the going rate. I'm guessing you can do note comp analysis there to see what they're selling for, and then basically make your offer 30% under that, and just float a ton of offers out, just like when you and I sent out all those contracts to buy houses, and then get them on, get your option on the note. I don't know if you're doing this, Robert, but I would go out, get an option on the note, then do your due diligence on the note, just like you would with a home inspector. And while you're in that due diligence period to do the note, not committed, even if you wanted to enter into a contract subject to due diligence, while you're going through that time, go over to Eddie's service and find yourself a buyer and just make some free money.
Well, while we're on that topic, and I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but a lot of people that have properties that are sitting, and I'm talking to agents and investors, but if you have properties that are, you just finished a rehab, right? And you just brought it out last week, and it's like you're now having this oh shit moment, or it's been sitting for several months. A great way to set yourself apart very quickly is to offer seller financing. That is now going to be more advantageous to buyers than it's ever been in this kind of environment. That's a quick way to set yourself. If you're going through a multi-million-dollar neighborhood and suddenly the entire fucking neighborhood's being sold, I promise you the way you'll get somebody's attention real quick is through seller financing.
Yeah, and the other thing to think about with seller financing is finance the difference in the discount. This is something a lot of people don't think about, right? So let's say that you have a property that you want to sell, that you want to sell or buy. But let's say that you're somebody that wants to sell right now. If you approach a seller and you say, listen, how much do you want to get for the house? Okay, here's what comps are. And let's say that it's a $300,000 house. And let's say that right now the market is only $250,000. Well, it's definitely worth floating out there the idea of seller financing on the 50 that you want. That, like, in other words, a lot of people are willing to say, well, if I don't have to worry about that for 3 years or 5 years, then cool. So when I've sold properties in the past on both sides, if I can just get seller financing on the difference, on the gap between where we're apart, and put it off a year, 3 years, 5 years in the future, then you can very frequently make a deal and pick up that difference. And so then you have all these, 50,000, 100,000, 30,000 things that start coming through a few years from now. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Oh yeah. Like I'm more than, I'll pay you your 300, but the terms are going to change. Right.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And you're going to carry this $50,000 note, or I'm going to offer this $50,000 note. Either way, just think of whichever side of the coin you're on, and financing that gap, or getting financing from the seller on that gap to go and acquire, so that you can in turn flip that property quickly. I mean, there's so much creativity that can be done in this type of environment. And that, by the way, whoever's most creative is going to win.
Absolutely.
Whoever's most creative, because there's a market for this all day long. By the way, guys, if you're digging on this, do me a favor, go in the comments and give me a hell yeah. So Roland and I can see that. We'll go probably another, Roland, you got 10 more minutes?
I can do 10 more minutes, yeah.
All right. And let us know how much you guys, this is mattering to you. Okay. I'm just going down here. Love that. Wholesale notes. Robert got it. That's good. how would you take advantage of the properties that will soon be in default from lack of payment? What would you advise us to do now to capitalize on that in a few months? I can tell you what I would do. Go ahead.
Well, let's hear yours, and then I'll see if I can.
Here's what I think everybody's got to realize is that the government's not going to make the same mistake it made last time, right? The government does not want there to be a rush of foreclosures that run into the market, because they clearly understand that if that would be another pillar to fall in the economy. And that's the reason why you're seeing all the banks come together. The government's talking a lot about it, about these kind of 90-day loan deferment on payments, right? With all the major banks are doing this right now on mortgages, and then they're just tacking it on the back. They're trying to buy that 90-day period. In a lot of cases, they're even talking about maybe even extend it to 180 days. The reason why they're trying to do that is because, in my opinion, is they don't want the foreclosures. They don't want all those REOs. They don't want all that hitting the market, because they know what that does. One house leads to a street, which leads to a neighborhood, which leads to a city, which leads to a county. And before you know it, that pillar in the economy is now collapsing as well. So they're going to try to do what they can to control some of it. But nonetheless, distress is distress. There are people, regardless of how much help and assistance they get, either they won't be paying attention, and they're not getting, not doing what they need to be doing, or they're just going to want to unload the problem because it's just too much of a burden mentally or whatever that's going on in their life. They just don't want that challenge. You need to be in a position with one of two things. You either have the liquidity, or have access to the liquidity, or have access to the people that have the liquidity to take advantage of those markets. So either you are getting your own cash ready and reserves ready, or you're doing all of these, by the way. You are quickly aligning yourself with the people that you can partner with to underwrite the acquisition of these properties, or you are absolutely aligning yourself with all of the cash buyers. Because do not kid yourself. Yes, America is going to be on sale. Yes, there's going to be a lot of inventory that comes. And there are going to be sharks in the water quickly here. And they may be sitting, getting ready right now, but they're coming, baby. I mean, I was talking to Invitation Homes. I've got Dan Noma that's coming on next week, who represents a ton of hedge funds, buys in 23 different cities. They buy thousands and thousands of properties every single month. And 100% from the mouthpiece, we are sitting on dry powder, and we are waiting, baby. And we are about to just blow this bitch up. And they're going to buy tens of thousands of houses at a time in every market that they can. And so aligning yourself quickly with those types of people is really, really important. Anything
I think that's great. I love it. And what I would also do right now is I would go out and I would put together and Kent, we might want to put something together for people to help them with this, but I would run radio, TV, and also go to real estate agents again. And I would probably even reach out to any REO departments of banks, and I would offer free Save Your Home workshops to get yourself these leads before they become qualified. So to build the goodwill so that anybody that's concerned about not being able to make their payments on their home right now, if you can be there just as it's happening, right? It's so important. If you could be there right at the moment that they decide that they're not going to be able to do this. And so you put together workshops to help them. And then as part of your close in the workshop, you can say, there's loans, there's strategies to abate and add, there's strategies to do this, that, and the other. And then at the end, you're saying, I'd probably do it as a free report to download as well, but I really like radio right now because radio is on sale. You can get hundreds of spots for $0, like thrown in for a very, very inexpensive radio ad. Maybe I would maybe think about Nextdoor and other things like that too for this. But if you could do trainings for homeowners on how to make their mortgage payments, how to save their house right now, and then at the end of the training you say, and by the way, if you don't think that you can make your payments, I'm a buyer. I would be happy to buy your house. And now you're able to be right at the right place, and you're getting them before they've gone into default. So you're helping the economy, you're helping the neighborhoods, right? That would be my strategy for that.
I love that. I love that. How, dude, you've been through this several times. I've been through this several times. In fact, our relationship was kind of born out of the last recession. If you really think about it, it's kind of been, I needed some guidance, and you and I started coming together, and that relationship turned into a partnership, which turned into a friendship, et cetera. How important do you think it is right now that people are aligned with the right information and the right people, and stuff like this, but even more so, right?
Yeah, never been more critical because it's the once in a lifetime. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. I mean, it really is. Like, so many good deals come along, but I ain't seen nothing like this in my lifetime.
Talk about, look, let me back up. So guys, and I haven't even talked to you about this, Roland, but I think this is important. I think we should do this. So I'm about to put you on the spot. I apologize. Guys, it's really important that you guys have access to information like this, right? And it's really important that you get I get people that come at me. A lot of you have even done it, right? Where they spend $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 to spend a couple days with me in my office. Roland, I know, dude, you get a hell of a lot more than that. You have people, I know you had somebody just, right, a half day yesterday, right? I mean, not necessarily in your office, but people spend you hundreds of thousands of dollars to do this, right? So yep. I don't know if you'd be up there. I think you would be if someone, but how would you feel, Roland, if we basically tried to, I can't do it next week, but starting the following week, if we basically opened it up and allowed people to come on to maybe we call it twice a month, get in a call with you and me, and basically do this with people, right? Help them strategize, help them see around corners, help them really understand what is, kind of what the next steps are, because this is a very fluid situation. And it's not just about Corona. There's opportunities, regardless, but the Corona just kind of intensifies it and compresses that time.
So to get on a call and talk with people?
Yeah, every 2 weeks or so.
Yeah, I mean, that's my favorite thing in the world to do, as you know. I live on the whiteboard.
All right, so guys, let's do this. And the reason Roland and I were doing an event, it was actually supposed to be last week,
yeah.
On leverage, exit, grow, scale. Let's just talk for a second about what would we have talked about in that event, and then as we're talking about it, I'm gonna kind of get some people here excited about maybe working with us and starting in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, what we talk about is, number one, the opportunity, and the opportunity is just multiplied dramatically because of the availability of companies. We talk about how to acquire companies, how to acquire businesses, how to acquire properties, how to do all of that stuff, but do it kind of on a next level, bigger kind of scale. There's 7 really specific strategies that we talk about. We talk about who are the exit people that are buying the things that we're able to buy. How do you buy them with no money down? That 159 different ways that we buy companies with no money down. All of the best places to find those deals, where to find the buyers, how to grow them, how to really layer on the growth. There's dozens and dozens of strategies for doing that. How to exit, how to actually move into the company and arbitrage it from what you are able to buy them for, which is typically in the 1 to 3 times earnings, what the profits range, but then to sell them for as much as 10 or 11 times revenue instead, and how to reposition companies. All of that kind of stuff. And all of the strategies that we've used to grow multiple companies. You've grown multiple billion-dollar companies. I've done the same thing. We basically kind of open that playbook to everybody, and then a whole new section that we have added on to that on how to profit in what's going on right now. So that was like, it got better. We had a whole 90-minute session that we were starting with in the one that we were going to do on March 23rd that now has gotten just so much better because of all of the free money aspects. So now we'll be talking really about how to have the government pay for the business for you, plus have the business pay for itself from other things that it qualified for, and then walk through those specific strategies, and then how to sell those at significant profits, even if you never even close.
And that's just actually, that is the
first 90-minute session.
Yeah. I mean, if you've ever been to one of these events, I know some of you have with Roland and I, or been to some that Roland does it. I mean, this is like drinking from a fire hydrant. This is such a wealth of information. And again, we were supposed to do that on the 23rd, and obviously for obvious reasons, no events were allowed to happen. And so we had a lot of people that paid $2,000 to be at that event. And and I had to refund their money. But what I would like to do, and you and I can talk about it offline here, but what I would like to do and propose is that, guys, not starting this coming week, because we still have more speakers, but the following week, starting that week, that we open it up and we get a handful of people. We basically do a monthly program, right? 2 calls a month with Roland and myself and this small group. And we get in there. Not only do we talk about legs, but we also talk about what's going on in their businesses specifically, coach them around getting around corners, exactly what they do. Kind of some of this small Q&A that we did here, but do it, in a much larger scale. Maybe charge everybody like $500 a month to get in there, right? Open it up to the masses, whoever wants in. This is your chance to work with two people who are doing this at every single day and can help you. And just get everybody in on that. Again, a monthly program, again, 2 calls a month, and for as long as it takes, as long as you're, and you know what, I'll even throw this up. I'll even make it easy, real easy for you guys. And because I think how important this is, I'll buy you your first month. I'll make it where your first month is actually free. So your first 2 calls are effectively free. In doing that, go into the comments and let me know how many of you are in. If you're in, just go and type interested in the comments, because I need to work out with my team and I need to work out with Roland exactly the logistics of putting it together, and then how we would accept payment and all that kind of good stuff, getting it all signed up, getting it scheduled, right? Because I'm kind of catching him off guard. But if you're interested, please go into the comments and let me know that you're interested here, and then our team will reach back to you. Go ahead.
So we'd have the opportunity to really help a bunch of people during that time before they had to pay anything as well.
100%. I mean, think about it. 2 phone calls, we get a couple hundred people in there. We would be able to help a lot of people in real time, literally before they ever spent $1, right?
Yeah, no, I love that. I think this is the time for everybody that's listening too, if you have anybody that you can help, now is the time to really be giving, to give people the opportunity to see that there is an end to this and to help them through this. The more that all of us pitch in and help people, and we don't use this as an opportunity necessarily to make money off of that help. We want to give the help and turn things around for people. And then this is your opportunity, just like it is for us here, which I really love, Kent, to prove that we can deliver that help in advance, and we can deliver those results in advance, and we can really make a difference for people. And that'll help anybody in their business, and it will help the economy, which is, I think.
Yeah. And you, dude, we've been doing this long enough to know that I guarantee everybody that comes into that group, that inside of the first hour, you will not only know how you will make that $500 a month investment back, you'll know how to make it back 10 times over, if not 100 times over, right? There's zero doubt. The only thing I do ask, because you guys know me, and Roland, don't waste, don't take that spot, take that opportunity away from somebody else. Really jump in there if you're interested. If you're one of those people that are that are action takers, go. Which, quite frankly, you wouldn't be here if you weren't that, right? You're investing your time just like we are here. But I know Roland, I know what he's done for me, my business. I know what I've done for others. I know what he's done for others. I think it's a rare opportunity for you guys to get in a room virtually with a couple guys that can really, really help you see around corners, and virtually at no risk to you. And then we just keep going, right? For as long as it takes to help people.
I love it. So we're really going to be focused on strategy, hot seats, just kind of taking questions, helping people, and everybody else gets to see, as well as, I'm sure there's a lot of smart people. I know boardroom people for sure that will be able to kind of help each other, right?
Yeah, almost like a strategy room, if you will, right? Let's just, maybe that's the name. Like, hey,
I like strategy room because obviously we love strategy, and you got boardroom, so that's actually
strategy rooms probably works as good as anything, right? But we'll get in a strategy room, and I mean, look, I can tell you behind the scenes, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that behind the scenes, Roland and I are talking. I know Roland's talking to Frank Kern, and then it's Perry Belcher, and I'm calling all my mentor. I mean, this is your chance to be a part of those types of phone calls. I mean, it's just that simple. I mean, if you don't have these types of people in your life that you can pick up the phone and call really quickly and get the answers to move fast, well, I would argue that this is a rare chance to get that done. So I like being able to do this. And if you're down, I'm down.
Yeah, man, I love it. I think it's great. It's just it's critical to me, particularly right now, because we're so isolated. I mean, entrepreneurs anyway have kind of a lonely life because your family doesn't get you. They don't get what, your family could be saying very well, if you're like we are right now, your family could be saying, but you can't work right now. why are you working more than you've ever worked? It's like, because there's so much opportunity, and that can create challenges. And we get that, and other entrepreneurs get that. So I think any community that allows you to have smart people thinking about your business, and also being able to talk about maybe some non-businessy things too, that can impact your happiness and your health is a good thing.
Well, dude, I know I took you 25 minutes over, but that's always the case with us. We just get going, and the information is so
Always
valuable. We just start talking. Thank you for doing this, and it really means a lot to me. Guys, thank you guys very much for being here and hanging out with us. We're going to be back here at 4 o'clock with another one of our guys, Sam Corminian, Big Block Realty.
Sam is awesome. Yes.
Sam's come on, and we've got Finster's going to be on here next week. So this kind of little incestuous little family going on.
Like our strategy room is all sharing here now, right?
Yeah, and then by the way, believe it or not, got him out of where he'll actually do it. I got Frank Kern coming on Monday, so it's like, holy shit.
Nice.
So anyway, dude, thank you so much for doing this. Guys, let him hear. Put thank you in the comments. He'll be able to see all the comments. See you, brother. Peace.